Okay, so if you are wondering how to do this particular worksheet, which I usually call the Price is Right worksheet, here is what you need to do. Number one is actually pretty simple. All you need to do is list the number of moles uh, according to this equation. So you have four different chemicals here. This is ethanol. And I know that because it says it is right over here in letter A. This is oxygen, carbon dioxide, and water. So to do letter A and all the other letter A's that are just like it, all you really need to do is tell me how many moles are for each chemical in here. So I'm going to say 1 mole of the ethanol. Um, I can't do subscripts in this program, but you would make this a subscript. So the 2 should be below the letter C, H5OH. And then you would say that you have 3 moles of O2 and you have 2 moles of CO2 and you have 3 moles of H2O. So hopefully fairly simple. And again, all the letter A's as you go through the worksheet are going to be just like that. You're just listing how many moles. For the mole to mole conversion, like always, you're going to start with what you know. We know that we have 3 moles of ethanol. So I'll write 3 moles of the chemical ethanol, C2H5OH. And because moles of ethanol is there, the same thing is going to go down over here. And then you think about what you want to end in. And in this problem, and in all the problems, it's usually after the words how many. So it says how many moles of carbon dioxide. So I know I want to end in moles of carbon dioxide. And then when you have moles on the top and moles on the bottom, like we've talked about, you get your numbers from the balanced equation. So the number that goes with ethanol is 1, because there's like an invisible 1 over here. It's implied by the fact that you wrote the chemical in the first place. So I'm going to put a 1 right there. And then for CO2, I have a 2. So I'm going to put a 2 over here. All right. And then it's just a matter of doing some math. 3 times 2 is going to be 6. So we just multiplied what's on the top, and then we're going to divide by what's on the bottom, which is 1, and 6 divided by 1, which is what I'm trying to do with this line here, is to give you a division symbol. 6 divided by 1 is going to be equal to 6 moles of CO2. And again, it's going to have the same unit as the one that you end with in the upper rightmost box. And all the letter B's are going to be just like that as well. So follow the same process. You're just going to have a different equation and potentially different numbers depending on what mole numbers are in front, what the coefficients are. And the last one is going to be the most difficult one. It's going to be a grams to grams conversion. We're going to start with what we know, which is 6 grams of ethanol. So 6G of ethanol, which is C2H5OH. And because grams of ethanol is there, the same thing is going to go over there. And because I'm going to be putting grams there, the only other place I could ever get a gram number from is from the formula mass. And this line, like we've talked about before, means equals to. So my formula mass I know is going to be equal to 1 mole of ethanol. So really all I got to do at this point is to figure out what the formula mass of ethanol is. So I'm going to need to use my calculator. So right now, off screen, I'm getting my calculator out. And I am going to figure that out. So I got 2 carbons, so 2 times 12.01. I have a total of 6 hydrogens, 5 from here and 1 from there. So that's going to be plus 6.06 because each one is 1.01. And then oxygen is 16. So that means that my formula mass for ethanol is going to be 46.08. So I'll type that in. Okay. It's not quite centered, but you get the idea. This goes with that. Because moles of ethanol is there, the same thing is going to go over here. Moles of ethanol. And you always want to be thinking about what do I want to end in. And it's after the words how many. It says how many grams of water. I can't go from moles of ethanol directly into grams of water because whatever moles of ethanol I have, 1 mole of ethanol would not be equal to the formula mass of a totally different chemical like water. But what I can do is I could say, hey, all right, for every mole of ethanol I put in, I get a certain amount of moles of water out. So I'm going to convert into moles of water, H2O. And by doing this, it'll set us up so that I can do one more step over here and eventually get to grams of water, like I'll show you in a second. Right now, though, I got moles on top and moles on the bottom. So just like over here, I'm going to get my numbers from the balanced equation. The number that goes with ethanol is this invisible 1 that's hanging out over here. And the number that is going to go with H2O is going to be 3. Because moles of H2O is here, the same thing is going to go down here, moles of H2O. And now you always think when you ever have the box in the top, okay, can I just end it? And yes, I can. Because what I could do is I could do formula mass is equal to 1 mole. So I could write 1 mole there. Then all I have to do over here is write the formula mass for water. In this case, if you figure out the formula mass of water, it's going to be 16 plus 2.02, because each hydrogen is 1.01. It's going to be 18.02 grams of H2O. Gram should be with that. All right, so now I have all my numbers, and I just got to multiply. I'm going to multiply all the numbers up top together. So 6 times 1 times 3 times 18.02. And again, you're going to get your calculator out. I'm doing this off screen right now. 6 times 1 times 3 times 18.02. And you're going to get 324.36. And the bottom, you multiply all those numbers together. 46.08 times 1 is still 46.08. And then you would divide those two numbers together. So 324.36 divided by 46.08 is going to be equal to, when you round, because we do round in this class to the hundredths place, 7.04 grams of H2O. And that's how you do it. And the other number 3s, letter C's, they're going to be the exact same way, just with different chemicals and with different starting numbers. You follow that process, and you should be able to get the answers for the rest without much issue. Hopefully this helps. Thanks. Bye.